Good afternoon or morning, wherever you're joining us from. Thanks for being with us on the latest edition of our Microsoft Elevate nonprofit webinar series. Today is a really hot topic, and I'm excited to have some very illustrious colleagues and guests on to lead us through this session. My name is Carson Hetty, so I'm the managing director of Microsoft Elevate nonprofit. 12 years at Microsoft. I've spent the majority of that time in enterprise healthcare and the last few years in the nonprofit space. We are ecstatic to be able to serve and support. And when I was at the Global Nonprofit Leaders Summit in March, one of the most hot topics that I kept hearing about was AI governance. Um, Carson, there's so much we want to do. There's so much we're talking about doing, but we've got to have governance before we get there. And so that was the impetus for this discussion. I want to thank one of my colleagues, Veronica Pena, for helping me tie together the cast of characters for today's session. And I'm really excited. We're in for a treat today. So really, when we have conversations with nonprofit today, and I do want to state as well, the call is recorded. The session will be shared likely later today or this week. And then furthermore, this is interactive. If you've got some questions throughout, please feel free to put some questions in the chat and we'll field them as we can. But, as we talk to nonprofit executives, as we talk to those of you in the field, AI is being used inside your organization, really, whether it's known about or governed or not. And that's why these types of conversations are so critical. Just in the conversations that we're having today, we know that teams are using Copilot to draft communications, to summarize donor interactions, to analyze data, to even experiment with agents. And in a lot of cases, this is happening faster than sometimes leadership visibility and governance or policy can keep up. And that's not a criticism. That's actually a signal. It's a signal that people are innovating. People are trying to do more for the mission with the tools that are in front of them, which is a positive sign. But it also can introduce risk. And that's one of the things that we want to talk about today. We hear this consistently from nonprofits. How do we enable AI without losing control of data or our environment, or ultimately trust? There are big reputations on the line with the people and the communities and the constituents that you serve, and we take that very seriously. That's why we're here today. So this session isn't about slowing down innovation. It's actually about making sure that you can move faster with confidence. So today we're going to walk through really what we're seeing at Microsoft across the nonprofit sector and practical application of AI governance that we're seeing right now at Microsoft, where risk is showing up, whether it's data oversharing, shadow AI, or unmanaged agents, what leading organizations are actually doing differently to get ahead of this, and also how you can put practical governance in place without creating any friction or slowdown for your teams. I'm going to introduce our illustrious guest. So Sophie is a senior product marketing manager at Microsoft. She leads security and governance strategy for Agent 365 and Microsoft 365 Copilot. She brings deep expertise across Purview and security for AI, works very closely with engineering and the product teams to actually help organizations adopt AI safely, responsibly, and at scale. She's worked across government, public sector, and nonprofit in her time at Microsoft. And Pallavi is a senior product manager at Microsoft, who's responsible for driving secure AI adoption and governance across Microsoft 365 Copilot and AI solutions. So we found the best of the best here today. Pallavi has deep expertise in data security, Purview, AI governance, with a focus on helping organizations prevent data oversharing, govern copilots and agents at scale, and really embedding security and compliance directly into AI workflows, which is mission critical. So we're very fortunate to have them today. You've heard enough from me. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Sophie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Carson. And thank you, everyone, for joining wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Pallavi and I are super excited to talk to you all about AI governance for nonprofits from a Microsoft perspective. So I will kick off the presentation and we'll pass it through with Pallavi and I, and we will let's get started. All right. So If you haven't known yet, AI really is transforming how we do our work. So, from a work trend index, 46% of leaders survey reported they're using AI and agents to fully automate workflow or processes, and 1.3 billion agents are projected to be automating workflow by 2028. So, these are huge changes coming. However, from a security and governance perspective, specifically security, these generative AI, whether it's applications, agents, are really accelerating the threat landscape across the different layers. So if you haven't seen this before, we think of it from three layers. At the bottom is the AI platform and model layer. So the threats, potential threats or risk there are around the training data poisoning or model theft. And in the middle is the AI agent and application. So application layer, this is where we are looking at potential prompt injection, risk of data leaks, or insecure MCP servers, toolings, and with agents entering the enterprise, intent breaking misbehavior, tool misuse, and memory and context poisoning. And at the very top layer, that is when your agent or AI tool is being deployed to be used by your end users. We're looking at, are we disclosing any sensitive data? Or are there any, third-party LLM apps or plugins that aren't secure? So the threat landscape will and is continuing to expand across every layer as AI adoption scales. So let's take a look at what are some of the main challenges that we'll cover in our presentation today. So these are the security challenges that are top of mind across industries. So as I talk through each of them briefly, and we'll dive deep into each one of these in our presentation today, feel free to give me a thumbs up if you feel one of them relate to you, or perhaps all four relate to you. So the first one is agent sprawl and resource access. So this is all about, and thank you for posting polls in the chat. So make sure you do interact with us. So the first one is all about agent sprawl and resource access. So this is all about, do you have that visibility into the agents that exist in your system and know what kind of resources or permission it has access to? So that's agent sprawl. So if this is a concern for you, feel free to give me a thumbs up or even a thumbs down. The next one is data leak and oversharing. So if you have been on the journey of deploying Microsoft 365 Copilot, you probably have heard this term before. So again, a thumbs up or a thumbs down if if this is a concern for you. So this is all about your grounding data, right? Your agent, your AI tool is always grounded in something. So we want to help you prevent oversharing of your sensitive information, and obviously the data leak that is external, right? External leaking of your most important sensitive information. And then the third one is, this is new. These are new AI threats and vulnerabilities. So this is, concerns such as indirect or direct prompt injection attacks. So how can we help you as an organization, prevent and block and protect you against all of these new AI threats and vulnerabilities? So if that's a concern for you, again, thumbs up or thumbs down, or give me emoji response. All right. And then last but not least, if you are in a regulatory, and I know, we're talking about nonprofits here, but if you fall under any, policies or regulations, we need to help you understand how AI is changing and how you can be compliant to all of these new and updated regulation as they pop up. Or maybe you have a policy that you've developed for your own nonprofit organization. So how do we help you adhere to those rules and regulations? So if that is of a concern for you, please do let us know with a thumbs up emoji. Awesome. So it sounds like lots of you, oh yeah, thank you for all the interactions. It sounds like all four concerns are relatable. Maybe you're thinking about it, or maybe you're like, I've thought about the first one and the second one, but I haven't thought about the third one. So we'll guide you through all four scenarios today. But really, at the heart of it, so really to unlock these potential of agentic AI, we need to start with trust. So you probably, hopefully, have heard that, Microsoft 365 is built on trust, and Microsoft 365 Copilot is built on trust. And now with Agent, everything also needs to start with that trust, and that trust starts with security. So Microsoft Security, if you're not familiar, is our end-to-end security platform. It combines threat protection, which is Microsoft Defender, data security, Microsoft Purview, device management, Microsoft Intune, secure access, Microsoft Defender into this end-to-end platform for all your AI apps and agents. And with that, with the focus of agents, which is now available, Microsoft Agent 365, which is the control plane for agents. How we think about Microsoft Agent 365 is through three pillars: to observe the agents that you have in your tenant, in your ecosystem, to secure it, and to govern it. And so when we think about Agent 365, it is a full ecosystem. So what you see here is not only we can observe, secure, and govern Microsoft agents, so agents built on the Microsoft platform like Copilot Studio, Agent Builder with Microsoft 365 Copilot, Microsoft Foundry, but we also have this full ecosystem partner where you can integrate with Agent 365 through our Agent 365 SDK. So in a nutshell, the security and governance capabilities come from Entra, Purview, Defender, and very recently announced also from Intune on the device management as well. But we're going to focus on the access control, data security, and threat protection in our presentation today as we talk through the 4 security challenges. All right. So let's start with the first one, which is controlling agent sprawl and resource access. So I spoke briefly about this, but you cannot secure and govern what you cannot see. And so that's why observability is our first layer and first pillar for Agent 365. So we did a survey. This is from 2025, and we're refreshing it from 2026. But from 2025, 82% of leaders expect to use agents. So if you are in your organization, if you're expecting to use agents or you're already using agents, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Are you using agents already in your system, in your organization? Okay, that's great. But if you haven't noticed, AI agents also introduce new access control challenges. And like I said, if it's unseen, it's unsecured. So how do you manage the unknown and unmanaged access and make sure that their access control and permission is managed? So identity is really the first step to secure these agents. So just like every human has an identity, we're introducing now Microsoft Entra Agent ID to secure access for AI agents. So this is included with Agent 365. This allows you to give all your agents an ID so that you can register and manage them, govern the agent identity and lifecycle, and to protect the access to resources for these agents. So let's take a closer look at what that means. So Microsoft Entra Agent ID works with Microsoft Foundry, other Microsoft first-party products like Copilot Studio, and it is also supporting Agent 365 as the Agent ID platform. However, you're not limited to these Microsoft agents. So you can also bring your own agents via the Agent 365 SDK. This means that you'll get the same protection and control for all of your agents, whether excuse me, whether they're built on Microsoft platforms or you brought in from other platforms and integrated with Agent 365 SDK. So let's look at a flow. So you, as a developer, create an agent, whether that's in a Microsoft Foundry, Copilot Studio, or any platform via Agent 365 SDK. An agent ID is automatically assigned. So your security team will gain visibility in all of these agents in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center, as well as the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And so now, with the support of Microsoft Entra, you can now set up conditional access policies, identity governance, and secure the access to resources for all of these agents. So what does that look like? So let's talk first about registering and managing agents. So like I said, visibility, observability is always the first step. So you want to get that complete inventory of your agent fleet and ensure that these agents are created with identity. So here I am in the Microsoft Entra portal. You'll see Agent ID on the left there. So you're going to go ahead and click on that. And once you're in Agent ID, you will see the list of all the agents that are in your system under all agent identities. And this is whether if they're already built within Microsoft Copilot Studio or Microsoft Foundry, they'll automatically appear here because they have that agent ID. If they're built in ecosystem partner platforms and they are integrated with Agent 365 SDK, they will also show up here. So that will give you that full agent identity view for all of your agents. All right, so now that we can see all the agents, we want to help you to govern these agent identities and lifecycle at scale. So a few things, right? So we want to make sure every agent has a sponsor and an owner. And we want to make sure we can help you manage their lifecycle from creation to deactivation and enforce least privileges with access packages. So we're back in the Entra portal, and under all agent identities, you can see there's an HR self-service agent. So we're going to click on that agent, and this is where you can see the details of this agent. You can see who its sponsor is, what kind of permission and policy it has, so that if the sponsor is missing, you can assign it directly here. Let's take a closer look at the conditional policy that's right here. So you're going to go ahead and click on that, and that will take you now to the policies page for this agent. So what you see here is that it has a conditional access policy set for this agent. And what this will do is ensure that all high-risk agents are blocked from accessing resources. So Entra's high-risk agent is based on identity risk signals such as sign-in spikes, agent access by risky users. So Entra will then block the agent from accessing resources if it deems that agent as risky. So with that, you can feel secure and sleep well at night, knowing that Entra will block risky agents as needed. And this policy is assigned to the agents. So you know which policies are applied. Entra will help you understand, which agents exist in your tenant. They have that agent ID, which permission policies apply to these agents so that you have that full visibility. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and pass it to Pallavi to take us over preventing data oversharing and leaks.
All right. Thank you, Sophie, for covering the agent sprawl. And moving on to the second pillar around preventing data oversharing and leak. So we know that nonprofits also hold some of the most sensitive data there is, like donor records, beneficiary information. So an AI, as Sophie mentioned, makes it incredibly easy to accidentally surface that data to the wrong person. So let's see how Purview helps you put those controls in place. All right, so look at these quadrants here, like how data risk deepens with the rise of agents. How do you govern these agents when tools and compliance processes are fragmented? Or how do you control autonomous agent interactions that can expose additional sensitive information? Is there anything that you're doing to prevent the unsupervised agent access to the sensitive data? Or do you even have visibility into what agents are generating, accessing, and sharing across the environment? So looking at this, agents can also make request for sensitive data. So what happens when an agent makes that sensitive request? So Microsoft Purview comes into play. It detects and automatically redact or block the sensitive data before it leaves your environment. How it does that? It applies the data loss prevention policies, labeling, and insider risk management policies. So AI apps and agents can understand and respect the organization's existing security controls. And just like before, if there's any risky activity that's detected and it's automatically flagged as an anomaly, then the security teams can, then investigate the issue through Defender, XDR, or Sentinel. So this gives like organizational granular inline data protection that helps you start secure and stay secure. All right, I'll give you a couple of demos and scenarios how this helps you restrict the leak of information. So this is the first scenario where, imagine a program manager at a nonprofit or in your organization asks Copilot to summarize a sensitive document. In this case, we are talking about a merger document, but for your example, it could be a list of major donors, a board memo, or even a child protection case file. So what you're seeing here is Copilot refuses to summarize the document because it carries the sensitivity label that your data security team has chosen to protect. Now, DLP, or the data loss prevention policy that you set in Purview, travels with the file, and Copilot recognizes it, respects the label, and steps back. So this is a safety net that is offered with Purview. The other thing is, like in the DSPM portal under Microsoft Purview, it's called Data Security Posture Management. It's a one single view that IT team or director can see where your sensitive data lives, how it's protected, and where investigations need more intervention. So if you do not have a large security operations team, this is exactly why a unified dashboard will be super helpful for your organization. Now, when you go into the DSPM, there is a tab called Objective that helps you define clear goals like preventing oversharing of donor records or data exposure in Copilot interactions. From this dashboard, you can see the counts of items at risk, their color-coded progress, and direct links to the remediation plan. So instead of saying, oh, we care about privacy, you can say, we had 11,000 sensitive items that were shared, and here is our plan to reduce by quarter end or whatever the plan is. This kind of helps build that trust with the evidences with your boards, funders, and auditors that increasingly they're looking to see that kind of plan in your roadmap. All right, we know that governance is not a journey. It's a journey. It's not a one-time project. So this trend that you're seeing here is the over time, sensitive data that has been shared or overshared, and what's the progress that we made in last 30 days. So the dip that you're seeing here in mid-April, that's what success looks to us. It's a deliberate intervention for reducing oversharing that we have made. And because it's outcome-based, it ties directly into the AI governance frameworks many nonprofits are now adopting, like NIST, AIRMF, or EU AI Act for International NGOs. All right, so once you've set the objective, you can run a data risk assessment against it, and think of data risk assessment as an automated audit that finds where the risk actually sits, and kind of coming up with a remediation plan. So again, for a lean IT team, this is enormous. You don't have to manually crawl through thousands of sites and OneDrives or records. It kind of gives you right there in one single unified view. And this assessment surfaces the hotspots and gives you a remediation plan. Now, there are also options for out-of-box assessments that are a great starting point. Like, every nonprofit has their areas that are uniquely sensitive, a grant negotiation or a whistleblower channel or a child protection case. So that records that need to be only visible to select handful or small group of people, you can create your custom assessments that are super handy. All right, so reviewing the results of these overshared items or as part of the data risk assessments, here is what an assessment result will look like with a clear list of items that are overshared and what's their remediation status, what needs to be done in order to make it secure and reduce the risk. When we have these risks, your organization has three options. First is to resolve. So sometimes there is a chance that, it is genuinely fine. It is correctly shared with the partner organization, so it's no longer sensitive, but you kind of mark it as resolved, because resolving kind of creates an audit log indicative that there was an action that was prompted and we have looked into it and it looks fine. So it's documented in the system. The second option that you have, and that's the most powerful, is to apply the right sensitive label. Once a label like confidential to a donor data or a restricted safeguarding is applied, the protection follows the file everywhere it goes. And we've seen in the example before that Copilot kind of respects those label boundaries and does not surface the information to person who's not supposed to see it. So one click of the file, you will get the lasting protections and wherever the file travels. And there are some predefined labels, as you see in the drop down here. You can assign them in bulk. So for a smaller IT team, again, the scale-friendly approach is super helpful. The third option is to remove the file sharing link. So what it means is accidentally, if you shared a link to everyone in the organization when it should have been very limited view or a smaller group should have had access to it, you can completely pull the link off and remove it so that no one is able to access it. So collectively, you have three actions: resolve, label, or remove oversharing. And it kind of provides you a complete toolkit for keeping the sensitive information in nonprofit data out of wrong hands and out of AI-generated responses. Now, going back to the data security posture management, this is the view that gives you clarity on where data risks are, how many labeled assets exist in your organization, how many of them are risky, and what the key agent insights are. And now we have introduced the AI observability, like Sophie mentioned. You will not be able to protect if you're not able to see what it is. So observability kind of gives you a full span view of how many agents exist in your organization, what's their status, what's their risk level, what's their risk type, and what's the policy coverage. So all in all, a unified view of where the vulnerabilities exist. Now here we are going to go dive into one of the agent, which is the Java procurement agent. On the top, you will be able to see what's the agent status, what's the policy coverage, who owns it. And as we saw earlier, this agent is at a high risk. And there are 14 different activities, risky activities associated to it, including exfiltration. So what do? We've learned about the behaviors of users from years of insider risk detection. Now we are applying the same discipline to agents since they are autonomous. They behave differently and they introduce new risks. All right. This going under agents and alerts, this is Purview Insider Risk Management now extends its capabilities to agent behavior related to risky data access and usage. We referred to one of the example where agents can make requests to sensitive data. So again, so we are kind of replicating the same risky behavior detection policies to agents as well that we had done on humans. So on the right-hand side, we see that data related to agent behavior signals sequenced across sensitive label removed from the file. There is sensitive email being sent and another label removed from the SharePoint side. So this is an example of how agents are behaving like humans inside the organizations. All right, so coming into the unified data protection and user and agent interactions. So when it comes to the enterprise data security controls for AI, Purview provides several capabilities that helps security teams to effectively do it, leveraging information protection that kinds of helps you discover and classify the sensitive data in the AI interactions, data loss prevention policies that helps you block certain labeled documents from being used by AI as grounding data to generate responses. Insider risk management can help you detect and investigate risky user activities in the AI apps and agents that may result in data security accidents. Now we have IP plus DLP that's available today for Foundry apps and agents through Purview SDK integration. All right, handing it back to you, Sophie, to cover the Defender side of things.
Perfect. Thank you, Pallavi. All right, so we covered how we can gain visibility for agents with Microsoft Entra so that every agent has an ID. And then Pallavi just covered how to prevent data oversharing and leaks for your agents to protect that grounding data that your agent is using to provide responses to prompts. And now the third one, which is how do we defend against all of these new AI, emerging AI threats and vulnerabilities? All right, let's take a look. Okay, so very similarly, with Defender, with Purview and Entra, it's really about, starting secure, having that guardrail in place so that you can stay secure. So Purview has a data security posture management tool, which is because Purview is the data pillar and it secures and governs data. With Microsoft Defender, its security posture management tool is all about giving you that comprehensive visibility into your AI assets, identifying remediating vulnerabilities, and prioritize and reduce risk so that there is, you're staying secure with the security threat protection in place. So I think there's a little bit of animation. Let's finish the animation here. All right, so as you develop and deploy multiple AI apps and agents, and sometimes you might be leveraging open source models or orchestrators, they can be exposed to various vulnerabilities. So it is really critical for you to have the ability to discover the AI stack deployed in your cloud environment. So how do we do that? Move forward. Okay, so here we are. We're in Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So this is where you can see the inventory across your multi-cloud environment. There's built-in query templates that allows you to quickly discover AI workloads and models used across cloud. You can explore vulnerable code repositories and containers running images with GenAI vulnerabilities. So here, this is the Cloud Security Explorer. So you can run a query that will look for vulnerabilities in popular GenAI libraries. The result will show all of the container images running across Azure, AWS, and GCP with vulnerabilities. And a click on this container, we see that the first CVE is related to LangChain. So it gives you that visibility. And so now that you have the visibility, obviously that's the first step as we mentioned. So now with Defender for Cloud attack path analysis, it can provide you also the actionable insight to identify and mitigate these risks proactively. So if you are part of the security team, you would probably want to know where bad actors can potentially enter and attack your AI services and what will the potential attack path looks like. So this attack path analysis helps you proactively identify and remediate potential attacks. And this is really one of the most powerful features from Defender to surface prioritize multi-cloud powerful feature to surface prioritize multi-cloud and cross-cloud attack path. And so there's the attack path analysis, and also Defender for Cloud includes built-in risk-based recommendations. So it will help you prioritize remediation action based on these risk factors and associate attack path. So this will give you a recommendation you can see from critical to low risk so that you can take the appropriate action. So that is, let me finish the animation here. So that was, generative AI. So with agents, we're really introducing additional threats. So there is agent to human interaction, which is between human and agents. So you need to protect prompts and responses, govern who can access which agents, and prevent user-driven compromise. There are also agents that are interacting with LLM, so they need safeguards to prevent things like model poisoning. And then A to A, which is agent to agent interactions, need guardrails to control connections, prevent oversharing. Agents that work directly with apps. And then there is also agents that work directly with tools like MCP servers, and then agent to agent interacting with other agents. So the challenge is really these layers expand the over complexity and the attack surface. And on top of that, you as an organization may also face runtime AI threats, like we talked about prompt injection attacks, model poisoning, and data exfiltration, as well as blind spots from unmanaged or shadow AI. So Microsoft Defender, what's new specifically for agents is that it can prevent threats, right, with real-time protection, attack path analysis. It can detect threats with, ability to create custom detections, as well as investigate and respond to these threats. So these are the three main things that is new that is now applicable also to agents. So let's take a look. So here I am in Microsoft Defender. There is under Assets, there is now a new tab called AI Agents. So this is the AI agent security posture management. And so at the top, what you have is visibility across Foundry and Copilot Studio agents. So you can see the total discovered agents that needs attention from a security perspective. So here you can go ahead and click into any agents and view their details and recommendations. So I am clicked into the Zava Assist agent. You can find information just like, in Entra, we saw that, and also in Purview, it's just taking a different flavor. In Defender, this is more about the security risk. You can still see the information like the agent ID, deployment model, and security recommendation that help you further understand the risk level. So you can dive deep into these recommendations. So now let's take a look at the security recommendation for Zava Assist. So in this view, you can see that the agent was developed without system instructions. And the description provides additional insights here into why that is a risk. So if system instructions are missing, agents can act unpredictably, and the risk of security breaches may go up. So what can you do? So you can easily navigate to this remediation steps to get specific guidance on what you need to do to fix the security issue. So this recommendation is available to the security team, and it is also available in Foundry. So if this was developed in Foundry, for the developer to take action as well. So there is one more thing in the security posture experience for agent. So while understanding individual weak spots is critical, it is even more important to contextualize and understand how these weak spots can create entire attack path. So the attack path analysis that we spoke about for AI apps is also available now for AI agents in Defender. So it can really help you visualize these toxic combinations and help to accelerate remediation. So here you can really understand how agent risk can create full attack path that can be exploited. So bringing it all together. So this is how Microsoft think about how to protect AI system from the most common and dangerous threats, which is prompt injection attacks. So the user sends a prompt injection attack. That prompt injection attack is detected and blocked by Prompt Shield, which is available for Copilot Studio and Azure Foundry. That signal, so it has blocked it, but that signal will flow into Defender to allow for investigation in Defender XDR or Sentinel. Your SecOps teams can take that signal and also the system can provide an automatic response. So this workflow provides high fidelity alerts through native integration, combining with SecOps tools and leverages Microsoft's deep expertise in detecting advanced AI threats. So in short, it helps you to start secure by blocking the prompt shield and stay secure as your AI workload move into production. So you can see those signals and maybe send that signal back to the developer to fix the model or test their agent with that piece of information in mind. All right, so let's look. So here I'm back in the Microsoft Defender portal. These are the incidents that has happened. You can see there is one incident that is high severity. So I'm going to click into that. So you can now take a look at this procurement agent, which has been flagged. You can see what happened here. So you see alerts associated with this incident because most attackers try multiple ways to break in. So we can investigate each of those alerts. Let's look first at the jailbreak attempt. So Defender investigated, confirmed that this attack was blocked by Prompt Shield. So that's good. It also reminds you what it is and what else you need to check. Next, you can see that this priority alert about a phishing attempt. Someone tried to send procurement agent a malicious URL, but our policy blocked that agent from accessing. So we're good too. And then you know that your internal procurement team has many confidential information. So you want to also investigate this DLP alert, which means a DLP policy was triggered and blocked. So you can see that just like Pallavi mentioned earlier, purview detection and alerts are also available in Defender. So purview DLP policy prevented that data security incident, blocking the procurement agent from processing sensitive data and prevented it from sending the email with sensitive data externally. So that is all about how Microsoft Defender can defend against AI threats and vulnerabilities from detecting and blocking it and making sure that signal is sent through for your SOC team to analyze through attack path so that it wouldn't happen in the future. So helping you to stay secure. All right. Back to Pallavi to talk to us all about enabling regulatory compliance.
Perfect. Thank you, Sophie. So moving on to the fourth pillar of regulatory compliance, this is definitely very critical because the regulatory landscape for AI is moving fast. The EU AI Act, the state privacy laws, the sector-specific rules for healthcare and education and nonprofits. So Purview's AI-powered regulatory templates let you ingest global regulations in real time and adapt as they change without needing a large compliance team. Let's see how it does that. So we've looked at the detection and compliance visibilities. Now let's just zoom out and look at the broader regulatory compliance across the world. The regulatory landscape is constant evolving, and it's a paramount that we stay compliant with this regulation if we want safe AI innovation. So AI innovation and regulations must go together. Um, Now, what happens is the purview offers you to, simply upload a regulation, like I just mentioned, and the AI gets to work. The malware scans, the parsing the text, the instant pulls of the obligations that matter for your environment, whether it's M365, Azure, or Microsoft Foundry. No more guesswork, no more ping pong between legal and engineering. From there on, the compliance manager lights up with a ready run assessment that controls owners, due dates, and evidence hooks. So compliance isn't just a static policy PDF anymore. It's a living, actionable plan that your teams can actually execute. And as regulations evolve, you can keep pace with it, whichever control is impacted. And bottom line is that AI power regulatory templates turn compliance from a slow manual interpretation exercise into a fast operational reality. So now Microsoft Purview's Compliance Manager AI powered regulatory templates. Think of it as your AI powered compass for traversing a wide world of compliance. Let's look at before and after real quickly. So before, what happened was teams would, slog through the endless PDFs, emails, legal updates, just to figure out what that new regulation is and what it means for our control. Now with AI powered regulatory templates, that heavy lifting happens in minutes. All right, so this is under Purview's Compliance Manager. It has LLM-based AI is incredibly, it had made LLM-based AI incredibly good at interpreting that, again, the text at scale. And with these powered templates, organizations can ingest and analyze the requirements that global regulations have set up and adapt to it. Let me show how this works. So under Compliance Manager Regulation tab, click New Template, create new template. And once you have here, all you have to do is just simply upload a regulation as a PDF. In this case, we will just use EU AI Act, as I mentioned earlier, and we will click Upload PDF. And then it reads and interprets the document, identifying the requirements that matter most to your environment, what's relevant and what's not. So again, it just converts those legal text to like practical steps that your organization needs to take pretty quickly. And once we select the service, the Azure AI Foundry in this example, and the PDF is uploaded, the document is scanned for malware, it parses again the text exact controls. Each control is then mapped to the specific actions that your organization needs to go and do. So now we'll click Review Draft Template in this case. Let's see what happens next. So after processing that template, it displays the extract, chapters, articles, and the requirements in a very clear, actionable format that you can see here. We will click on Improved Actions, overview the details, and from all the extracted content, the AI-powered regulatory template identifies the one that specifically aligns with Article 9.8 and provides improvement actions for your team. So overall, this offering has kind of helps tremendous organization to kind of stay compliant without the burden of, manual interpretation. And it continues to help you stay compliant with the ever-changing evolutions. Whatever the new regulations the governments are introducing, it helps you analyze and then gives you those action plan. Now, one question that kind of comes up every time folks interact with nonprofit is like, what actually happens to the data when our staff or beneficiaries interact with an agent? If a caseworker uses an AI agent to summarize a sensitive intake conversation, where does this prompt and responses live? So moving on to the data lifecycle management, or we can create a retention policy of how long you want those prompts and responses records to stay so that you can stay compliant, just like emails, documents, and you can set the retention policies to keep them as long as your funders, regulators, or internal policies requires, and automatically delete them when the period ends. So that will also help, improve your co-pilot responses, because lesser the data, lesser it has to scan through, and it will surface the most recent one. So that's why it's helpful to create those retention policies of holding the data. All right. Um, to govern the AI well, you first need to see what's actually happening across all the places that AI shows up in your organization. So this kind of shows us the overall view on what the risks and the AI usage looks like in your organization. It could be agents, it could be Gen AI apps, it could be the augmented apps, and what are the risk signals and what Purview offers. So again, from these three, we can see that Purview captures the common set of risk signals, and those are the ones that matter for your organization. Sensitive data exposure. So when a donor data or a beneficiary information kind of shows up in any prompt responses, the risky AI prompts, staff asking questions that could compromise the privacy and compliance, the shadow AI, if volunteers are using AI tools that have not been sanctioned by your organization, what happens to the interactions that happen in those third-party AI apps, any content safety violations, any insider risk patterns or unusual behavior that can indicate the misuse of those agents. So those signals then flow into the Purview tools that you may have already in place, like communication compliance, audit, e-discovery, data lifecycle management, and DSPM for AI. We've seen that how that it offers visibility. You are not standing a brand new system. You're using the AI power within Purview to help your organization, stay safe and compliant. All right, I will hand it back to you, Sophie, for concluding.
Thank you, Pallavi. Let me take control. There we go. Perfect. So we covered all of the 4 scenarios, so how to control agent sprawl and resource access with Microsoft Entra Agent ID, how to prevent data oversharing and leaks with Microsoft Purview, how to defend against AI threats and vulnerabilities with Microsoft Defender, and then how to enable regulatory compliance with Microsoft Purview. So here is an overview slide. So this is everything that we covered today. So we'll be sure to share the deck, and this is also recorded, so you can definitely take a screenshot later. So this is all the features that we covered today from Defender, Purview, and Entra. So as I mentioned before, this is the Microsoft AI first end-to-end platform from Purview, Entra, Intune Defender, and Sentinel coming together to observe, secure, and govern all of your AI and agents. So I will end to really say the best way to manage your agents is to extend your current infrastructure you use for managing users. So bringing together the different admin personas, your IT and AI admin in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, your identity admin in Entra, security admin in Defender, your devices and endpoint admin in Intune, and of course your data admin in Microsoft Purview. So with Agent 365, you extend your existing infrastructure and protections from people to agents, and you can integrate agent management into your existing workflows. So together, we can empower the future we imagine. And so thank you very much for your time today. I'm going to pass it back to Carson to wrap this session up for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie, Pallavi, Veronica. Thank you so much for putting this together. Absolutely incredible, and appreciate everybody that joined. I think to leave you with this, really wherever you are on your AI journey, I know I sent the poll out earlier, and 85% of the respondents, I think we had close to 60 respondents, said that they were, in the process of exploring where AI governance should fit in their organization. We are here to meet you where you are. And as you saw today, whatever tools you're leveraging, whatever platforms. Microsoft is here to meet you on that journey, to provide blueprints. We will send the materials from today's session out later this week via email. So yes, you will have that as a templatized approach. Furthermore, I ask you to engage if there's ways that we can set up or stand up sessions specific to governance to support your organization. So really, wherever you are on that journey, let us know where we can help. Feel free to reach out to me directly or to your account teams, and we'll explore different ways that we can support. AI is obviously happening in all of our organizations. So the opportunity is to make sure that we are harnessing that opportunity and that momentum in a safe and secure way. Doing it in a way that accelerates your mission. That's why Elevate Nonprofit exists, frankly. We have innovation hubs that are scattered across the country. We have opportunity to meet in person and do architectural design and strategic envisioning sessions. We have sponsored workshops. We have technical architects at no additional cost to you, and all kinds of additional programmatic ways that we can lean in and support, whether it's real life AI use cases that you want to enact, or helping you construct governance and policies for your organization. So if today sparked any ideas or raised any additional questions, thanks for what you put into the chat. I encourage you to connect directly with me or with your account teams. The organizations, the nonprofits that are winning in this next era are going to be the ones that are moving with clarity and moving with trust and moving with purpose. Thank you for the important work that you do each and every day. Thank you for the opportunity to serve and support you. And thanks for being here. We look forward to partnering with you and seeing you next time. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.